My name's Jeremy Tomley.
Spike Richards with Saber Bats.
My name is Tasha Messer-Williams.
Benjamin Green.
My name is Seth Voorhees, and I am a modern-day bladesmith.
Whether it's down-home Southern cooking, skilled craftsmanship, or beautiful artwork, Mississippi is full of amazing people and amazing stories. So let them tell you what it means to be made in Mississippi.
Hi, my name is Tasha Messer-Williams, and I am a professional artist and owner of Art Cetera in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Originally, I grew up in Illinois. Been running away from the winter since I was 17 and never looked back. I have lived in Hattiesburg now for, it's been 16 years. Kind of a funny story. My parents kind of threw a dart and moved down here. And I followed suit to attend Southern Miss to get my master's degree in art education. Went through the process and ended up that they removed the art education master's degree after I got accepted, and so it never worked out, but here I am, I'm still here. Get to do what I love to do every day, and I don't think a lot of people get to say that. I also get to support and help other artists as well, which was something that I always wanted to do. My husband is Johnny Williams. He's the owner of Will Carr Home Improvement. So him and I team up on some cool little projects sometimes as well. And then I have a 5, almost 6-year-old little boy named Cash. We like Johnny Cash. So when I was in high school, I had this idea. This is what I wanted to do. I went to art school, and I always wanted a place where I could have other artists, myself, teach art classes. The original idea was maybe to even have like a hair salon and coffee shop with it. But it just kind of grew and progressed to there, and then I came up with the idea of just Art Cetera. First start was a meager little booth at HubFest, and I got really good response from that, so I started looking for places to open up. My mom and dad are really great business people, so I was showing them the different properties that I was looking at, and my dad would say, "You're never gonna make it. You're never gonna make it," every place I showed him. And then he said, "Come check out this log cabin on 98. Okay, what are you talking about? There's no log cabin on 98. I had never noticed this place. It was so overgrown. It was just an old abandoned house at that point, hadn't been lived in quite some time. And I saw it and I fell in love with it, but I couldn't afford it. And thus the relationship with my mom and I in business together. It's fun. It's very fun, but it is a lot of work. Besides just the merchandising of the store and other artists' work, we also have the garden center, so lots of plants to take care of as well. But it's fun. I get to work with my mom every day, which is awesome. We get along great, and like I said, I love what I do. I really do. I teach classes to adults, and they are all sorts of different classes. We have art classes for watercolor, for acrylic painting, for drawing, for portrait art, for pastels. We do composition and art elements and design class. So there's really a wide variety to choose from when it comes to the classes based on your interest. My high school art teacher, she probably had the biggest impact on me as a teacher. And once she started showing me things and I just really took off, I wanted to share that with other people as well. My love of art, her love of art, it all kind of continues on. I mean, ever since I was a little girl, I was the happiest if you gave me a coloring book and some crayons and markers and set me down. I'd be happy for hours. But yeah, definitely when I hit high school, and Kelly Eddington was her name, my art teacher, she definitely had the biggest impact, I would say, for sure. To be a good teacher, you have to be a good student as well. So I'm constantly learning new things. Sometimes students even teach me new things, believe it or not. There's 1,000 different art mediums out there, and you know, you can't know every single one of them, but I try and familiarize myself with all of them and become efficient at them, and then able to teach other people how to use them as well. Personally, my forte, what I do, is going to be portraiture. I would say the top 2 mediums that I use in portraits would be charcoal and watercolor, but I do them in pastel, graphite, acrylic as well. But I'd say the top 2 that most people commission me to do are either going to be the charcoal or the watercolor. So charcoal is going to be a drawing medium, and a lot of people steer away from it because it is quite messy. It smears very easily, smudges very easily, so you have to be very careful and particular in the order that you work so that you have a piece that looks clean and not smudged. You know, that's what I started with when I was in high school with my high school art teacher. It was the charcoal, and then my love of it just kind of grew from there. In college as well, you know, it was primarily charcoal that I was dealing with until I got into the painting courses. Then, of course, it was watercolor, but I would say it was definitely her influence that made that my favorite. So literally think about the charcoal that you put in your grill. That's what I'm drawing. There's different types of charcoal, so you'll see me with my different pencils. It's the different hardnesses of charcoal, so you have softer charcoal, then you have harder charcoal, so you have to know which ones to apply where to get the desired effect that you're looking for. You also have something called willow charcoal. And then a lot of the times with charcoal drawing, you're borrowing from what you've already done on your picture using what's called a blending step. It's basically wound up tight paper that has a point to it that you use as a drawing tool. Also, a lot of people think erasers are just for mistakes, but your eraser is also a drawing tool in the charcoal drawing as well. It's the most challenging, 100%. That's why I like it the best. To draw a person, sure, you know, everybody can pretty much do that. Like, okay, you were drawing a person, even if it's just a stick person, right? But to get the likeness to a specific person and to capture that personality, it's a big challenge. I think every artist will tell you that it's the most challenging, but I like it. The eyes are always my favorite part because just like they say, the eyes are the window to the soul. That's what really captures the person that you're trying to draw. So I always say that's the fun part. Once I've done the eyes, I'm like, fun part's over. So the biggest rule I would say with charcoal that I'm always harping on my students about is the order that you work. I'm right-handed, so it's important that you always start, if you're right-handed, in the upper left-hand corner. If you think about anything, even just that you do in regular pencil, once you put your hand in it and move it around, what happens? It gets all smudgy, right? And so that's why you want to make sure that you're working in a very specific order from left to right so that your hand isn't in the charcoal that you've already put down. Besides that, it's just really observing your picture, whether that be a portrait or a flower, whatever you're trying to draw, and really looking for the value scale. When I say value scale, I'm talking about the variation between light and dark. So you're looking for the darkest areas, and then you're also looking for the whitest areas, and then every gray tone in between. And when you can accomplish that, you're gonna get a good three-dimensional looking, two-dimensional art piece. So typically your willow charcoal is gonna be for your lightest gray areas, and then you're gonna move on to your pencils. You have a 2B, you have a 4B, and you have a 6B. And that's describing the hardness of the pencil. So the 6B is gonna be the softest and most smudgy and smeary, and your 2B is gonna be the hardest, so it's gonna not smear quite as much. So you're using the 2B for the fine details, like I was saying with the eyes, things like that. And then the other pencils are gonna be more so for all of your shades and shadows. And then you also have what's called compressed charcoal as well, which is literally just a stick of charcoal. It's not in a pencil. And those are gonna be also in your hardnesses, so 6B, 4B, 2B. But they are gonna be for larger areas and that sort of thing. backgrounds, you know, big areas you want to cover, you can just put them on their side and go for it. It's fun when the light bulb goes off and it clicks. You know, at first everybody kind of struggles with remembering what tool to use when, but that's what I'm here to help them do, is say, okay, let's see, is that the tool we're supposed to be using right now, or do we need to switch to something else? And then that aha moment, like, oh no, okay, I got it now. It's just wonderful to see in people's faces, you know, they got it. And then the work that they create from it, it's just something to be super proud of, for them and for me. You know, most artists don't have a place where they can permanently display their work. Most of them are going to art fairs, that sort of thing. Just like I started off with my very first booth at HubFest. But you know, that's not a constant, consistent place to be able to show your work. So having this place gave me the opportunity to have that for myself and other artists. And you know, if you're talking about big galleries and that sort of thing, the artist actually usually only gets about 15% of the sale of a piece. And I don't do that here. The artist gets 75% of the sale of the piece, and the business takes 25%. So trying to help out the local artists as much as I can, because I'm an artist and I've been there too. Don't stop. Keep perfecting. Keep going. Don't be content. Try new things, and keep putting yourself out there. We are our own worst critics, 100%. I can tell you that as a teacher viewing my students. The more we press ourselves, the better we become. And practice makes perfect. I know people don't like to hear that, but it is true. I would say that what art really means to me and how I'm inspired is literally everything around me. My son, my husband, the beautiful flowers out in the garden center. It really does just, I go someplace else when I'm sitting down and drawing and painting. I can't describe the place I go to, but it's just a place of relaxation, contentment that I crave and I need, and I don't think I could live without, honestly.